Hey family, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing two ham recipes or ways to use your leftover ham. If you saw our grocery haul, you saw that we bought a huge ham for Christmas dinner and we have a lot of leftovers. So I'm gonna use the rest of what we have in this gallon-sized Ziploc, and then we also have one more gallon-sized Ziploc full of ham. So for tonight's dinner, we are gonna be doing pot pie. So I've got a little bit of these peas and carrots left, not much, but that's okay. I'm just gonna use what we have, and a little bit of this frozen corn left, and then I'm gonna use butter and flour to make the gravy. And yeah, I'll show you guys how we put it together, but I'm gonna go ahead and start by chopping up this ham. Alright, I think that should be good enough. It's probably about 2 cups. If it looks a little thin once I make the mixture, then I'll cut up some more and add it in there. Alright, so I also had half an onion in the fridge, so I'm going to go ahead and chop this up and we'll use that in there today too. Alright, so to start our pot pie filling, I'm going to start by melting 5 tablespoons of butter.
Did you say Popeyes?
Pot pie. Once we get that melted down a little bit, I'm going to add the half of the onion that I chopped up. Alright, so we're just going to get that cooked down a little bit until the onions are tender. Alright, so now I'm going to lower the heat just a little bit and add 1/3 cup of flour. And I'm just going to mix that in until it's all absorbed. And then I'll start adding my chicken broth. I have 2 cups of that. Alright, and then we'll just gradually stir that in and start to thicken up our sauce. Alright, next up we're going to add 1/4 cup of half and half. I'm going to give this a stir and then we'll start to season this up a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to start with some salt. Add in some pepper. A little bit of garlic powder. And some poultry seasoning. Alright, so you can already tell that the sauce is starting to thick up really nicely. I'm just going to let this simmer for a few more minutes till it gets nice and thick. And then I'm going to remove it from the heat. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off and add my veggies and my ham. So I'm going to go ahead and just use up whatever we have left in these bags. Some corn, some peas and carrots. And now for our ham. The smell is really, really good. Alrighty, so I'm gonna let that sit for just a little bit, just so I don't burn myself while I put it into the pie crust. Alright guys, so my oven is preheated to 350 degrees. I've got my iron skillet, brushed it with avocado oil. So now I'm gonna place my first pie crust down in the bottom. This is a double crust pot pie. Oops, I forgot I was supposed to let these sit out for a few minutes. That's okay. It is done. So I'm just gonna let this one sit here for a minute, and I'm gonna pop this other one in the microwave for about 10 seconds, just so it's easier to work with. It's okay. It'll still come out the same, it'll taste the same, hopefully. For some reason, I was thinking they had to be cold to work with. I don't know why. All right. So I'm gonna get my filling in here. Hopefully I can do this without making a huge mess. Okay, now I'm gonna try to get this last pie crust on here. I'm gonna lay it on top, and then I'm gonna try to seal the edges. Alright, not the prettiest, but it'll still taste good. And then I'm just gonna cut some slits. Alrighty, just gonna get an egg wash together, and then I'll brush that over the top. Just gonna get this in the oven now and bake it for 40 to 45 minutes. So there she is, straight out of the oven. I obviously did not do a good job of sealing my crust, but that is a-okay. I'm gonna let it set for about 10 minutes just so it can get cool and it'll be easier to cut. Smells really, really good though. I'm excited. So we also have a little bit of the sweet potato bake left from Christmas dinner, and some mac and cheese. So I'm just gonna pop these in the microwave so we can finish these off tonight. And I'm also going to make a Caesar salad kit that we had in the fridge just to get that eaten up before that expires. All right guys, so I actually think my filling is too watery. I just cut it open and lots of liquid still. So maybe I didn't let it thicken long enough. Maybe I didn't have enough veggies and meats, but oh well. Not everything is a win, right? I'm sure it'll still taste good, but it's just not gonna be as aesthetically pleasing, and that's okay. Oh yeah. So definitely not pot pie, more like pot pie soup. That is a-okay. There is my pot pie failure, but it does taste really good. I just had a little piece, so that's okay. It's still edible.
Pot soup.
So even though the pot pie was a soupy mess, there was only a little bit left. It was really good, especially since the ham had like a honey glaze on the edges, so it had like that crispy kind of crust on the edge. Really good, and the sweetness to it, just a little bit though, not too much. We really enjoyed it. Well, Dee and I really enjoyed it. You should definitely try it out. Make sure you let your sauce thicken. You're supposed to let it simmer for like 5 minutes. I don't think I did the total time, and I also don't think I had enough like filling of the veggies and stuff like that, because I just used what I had left. But that's okay because it still came out really good. I'm happy with it. I would definitely try it again. I'll be sharing another recipe with you guys here shortly. Alright guys, so for our next ham meal, we are going to be making slow cooker country scalloped potatoes and ham. So I've got about 10 small potatoes left from what I didn't use to make mashed potatoes. So I'm gonna go ahead and slice those up like if I was, well, for scalloped potatoes. So thin rounds, and then I'll chop up my ham and show you what else we're gonna use, okay? So let me go ahead and get all these potatoes peeled up. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and get my crock pot insert and spray that with cooking spray. Alright, so I added my potatoes and I'm just going to season with some pepper. I'm not going to add any salt because we are going to be using a country gravy packet and a can of cream of mushroom. So it's going to be pretty salty already. So I'm just going to add some pepper to these. And now we're just going to chop up that ham that we have. Just pulled out some chunks of the ham. I'm going to chop this up, add it to the crock pot, and see how it looks. And if I need more, I'll pull some more out. We still have quite a bit. And if I didn't have leftover ham to use and I wanted to make this, I would just buy some cheap ham steaks and dice those up. Alright, I think that should be good. Okay, so next up we're gonna combine 1 cup of water, which I have in this little pitcher here, 1 cup of milk, 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, then add your country gravy mix. And just whisk all that together until it's combined. Alrighty, so now we're just going to take that liquid mixture and pour it over your potatoes and ham. I'm just gonna mix this up just a little bit so we can get everything incorporated. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna get this plugged in and I'm gonna cook it on low for about 6 hours until the potatoes are tender. And then the last 30 minutes, I'm gonna top the potatoes and ham with some cheddar cheese, or whichever cheese you have on hand will be just fine. I like to serve this with usually the sweet Hawaiian rolls, but I made some French bread last night, so that's what we'll be using up for this dinner. We'll just wait till everything's done and then I'll show you guys how it came out. Hopefully not a soupy mess like yesterday, but if it is, that's a-okay. So our meal has been cooking for about 6 hours now. I actually turned it to keep warm about an hour ago just because it was already really tender. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a stir and top it with the cheese and put the lid back on for a little bit. Alrighty, cheese is all melted and gooey. Just gonna get our bread warmed up and we'll be ready to eat. So there are our bowls and our yummy homemade French bread. Alright guys, so those are our 2 recipes for your ways to use up your leftover ham. I hope you enjoyed them. If you do end up trying out the pot pie, just remember to let your sauce simmer for 5 minutes or more. Don't be like me and end up with a soupy mess, but it was still good. We're gonna enjoy tonight's dinner, then we'll see you guys in our next video. Don't forget to like this video, and if you are new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our YouTube family. We'll see you guys later.